If you're a national of the countries I'm going to mention, what I mean is your passport is issued by these countries I'm going to mention. This includes India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Nigeria, and Uganda. And you have a visit visa or you're planning to visit the United Arab Emirates, this video is made for you. You must be wondering if it's possible to enter the United Arab Emirates. And maybe you're wondering also, how does one enter the United Arab Emirates with this current suspension on flights coming from these countries? In this video, I'm going to give you some updates on how these visa holders can enter the United Arab Emirates. And this information is coming from Fly Dubai website. In case you're on this channel for the first time, I need you to please subscribe to my channel. And if you already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for sharing the videos if you have. And if you have any other question or you need any clarification on the current topic, please leave your comment in the comment box. We shall get back to you as soon as possible. Now, let us talk about how visit visa holders can enter the United Arab Emirates after the suspension on passenger flights from their countries have been partially lifted. Passengers holding passports issued by the governments of India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Uganda can now enter the United Arab Emirates with visit visas. However, there are some conditions one must meet, and these are the conditions that you have to meet if you want to enter the United Arab Emirates with a visit visa at the moment. This is the latest update as I got it from Fly Dubai website. These are the conditions one must meet. The number one condition is you must not have entered or been in those countries in the last 14 days. If you have not been in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Uganda or Nigeria in the last 14 days and you didn't even go through those countries, then you can enter the United Arab Emirates. I don't know if that's clear. You must not have entered or even gone through those countries. So this means even if you don't have a passport issued by those countries, but you go through these countries as a transit or for a visit, you cannot directly get into the United Arab Emirates. Unless you spend somewhere 14 days, then you can get in. That's the number one condition. Second condition is you must get a pre-entry approval from the GDRFA website. That's the General Directorate for Residence and Foreign Affairs in the United Arab Emirates. If you get that approval, then you can go ahead to buy the air ticket. Otherwise, the airlines will not give you the air ticket if you don't have that approval. So that's the second condition. Third condition is for you to present a printed copy of a negative Covid-19 PCR test. This can be in either English or Arabic, but it must have a QR code. And this QR code must be connected to the original report in the lab or the health center that did this test. In addition, this test must have been done 48 hours before the departure of your flight. So that's the third condition. A PCR test that shows negative and has to be printed on a paper with a QR code that is linked to the original report in the hospital or the healthcare lab. And this must be done within 48 hours before your flight. So that's the third condition. Fourth condition is a requirement to take a second COVID-19 test. This is a rapid PCR test that must be taken at the airport 6 hours before your flight. So this is also important. It must be negative, taken 6 hours before the flight at the airport, most likely, because you can't do it very far from the airport. It may be too late for you to take the flight. So all these countries, India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Uganda, must have that facility at the airport, because it's not possible for everyone to do it from wherever they are doing it from. And some results are also not accepted. If the lab cannot be trusted, then the results won't be accepted. So this has to be arranged at the airports. Check with the airline, check with your airport, check with your aviation authority if that facility is there at the airport, so that you don't get disappointed if you're going to take the flight. From whichever country you're going through, make sure they have that facility at the airport. Otherwise, you may not be allowed to enter the United Arab Emirates. And the last condition for you to be allowed in the United Arab Emirates, and this is especially through Dubai International Airport, you'll need to take a third COVID-19 test at the airport when you arrive. So these are 3 COVID tests. The one you have to do 48 hours before your flight, a rapid test at the airport 6 hours before the flight, and a third test is on arrival at Dubai International Airport if you are allowed to fly. And also they noted that the COVID-19 tests depend on the country of departure. So if you go through another country, you may check on the requirements to test, because now you'll be treated as someone coming from that country. The 14 days is like quarantine. That means now you're clean to go into the United Arab Emirates. So if you're going through another country like Maldives, then you'll have to find out the tests that are required for people coming from Maldives. That's just an example for you. There's some exclusions. For example, if you are a UAE resident, a GCC citizen, or a visitor arriving in Dubai, regardless where your journey started from, you must be able to present a negative COVID-19 PCR test taken from the country of departure at least 72 hours before the time of departure of that flight from that country to Dubai. And the website adds that arriving passengers to Dubai International Airport will be required to take another rapid PCR COVID-19 test at the airport on arrival. And at the moment, they're saying that flights from Bangladesh have been suspended until further notice. So people from Bangladesh, your flights have been suspended until further notice. So whenever that information comes out, when the suspension is lifted, we shall know. Entry of passengers arriving from Afghanistan and Indonesia, or that transited through Afghanistan and Indonesia in the last 14 days, have also been suspended until further notice. But this suspension excludes members of diplomatic, economic, and scientific missions. UAE nationals and residents of the United Arab Emirates holding gold visas have been exempted from this suspension. So that means people who have been out of these countries, India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Uganda, for the last 14 days, can now enter the United Arab Emirates with the visit visas. Another addition that came in late on Monday is that before they had accepted Indian nationals with either a UK visa or USA green card to enter with visa on arrival. But the visa on arrival now has been suspended by Abu Dhabi. If you're an Indian national with a visa from UK or a green card from USA or a visa from European Union, at the moment your visa on arrival has been suspended. So you need to get a pre-approval of your visa before you can travel to the United Arab Emirates. That just came in late on Monday afternoon. So there's a lot of pressure on the United Arab Emirates government. Companies had employees they recruited from outside, from these countries, Nigeria, Uganda, Nepal, India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. People have got already the employment visas, some have got visit visas, but they cannot come directly into the United Arab Emirates. So that's that kind of pressure already on the government. They need to find a way of making it easy for these people to come and join and do the jobs they are hired for. But at the moment, you need to go through another country where you can stay for 14 days like quarantine before you can enter the United Arab Emirates. Until this is adjusted and we get some new updates, this is the only way you can get into Dubai now. Once we get a new updates, I'll be letting you know. Thank you so much for watching. This is all I have for you today. Please stay tuned for the next video.